Hi everybody, welcome yet again to the latest instalment. Now that's Rock Music 31, and we are now in mid-July. I hope you're all doing okay, and I hope you're all healthy and safe and calm and in good mental and physical condition. I don't want to spoil that by inflicting wet on you, but I'm not really given any option. I never choose the first song I play. It's a tradition on these that we've done for the last 31 times now, but we always play song one, disc one. At least, for once, it's not a ballad, so at least it's a faster wet song, and to be honest, that makes it bearable. I'm not going to ever be wasting a lot of video time discussing wet songs, but I will say I'm not totally hating on this one either. It's a pleasant change of pace. But it doesn't take long before we follow it. And I have to say at this point already, we've got an awful lot to get through on this one, which is a good sign. So I'll give you that little teaser. We've got an awful lot to get through, and it only takes song 2 before we get a real classic. I don't mean song 2 by Blur. I mean Edwyn Collins, A Girl Like You. First bona fide classic then. Didn't take long, did it? And there's more coming, so stay tuned. I'm going to be having to really keep up with this one. It's the guy from Orange Juice. And I'm sure all you pop trivia buffs know that Orange Juice were the first ever band to use the Roland 303 on the top 40 hit. We rip it up, the bass line. He's had a bit of a break. Orange Juice and no more. And he's back on his own. I think he's had a few solo things on the way, kind of fairly indie. This song, in the wake of the Britpop revival, a bit like punk. It's not just pure Britpop, it's what it opened up in its wake. Stuff that had been bubbling under anyway. But would have never made a Now album. Even sonically, this was probably not that different to what he was doing 2 years ago. But whilst Now was doing Everybody Gone For Gone, Edwyn was working on stuff like this. A couple of years later, it's made Now World. And I'm not complaining, better late than never. And that is one thing I'll say about these Now albums. They're never that quick off the draw. But when they make up, they certainly make up, as we saw with Dancehall and Reggae. And we're seeing that now with Britpop. The floodgates have well and truly opened. And believe me, I'd play a lot more of this song if I didn't have to follow it up with another all-time classic. A real all-time classic. And it sounds like this. Wait for it. Only 29 million views. That really surprised me, actually. Maybe it's a northern thing. I talked about Crooks when I talked about the Human League. I actually lived in Sheffield, and I would definitely go back there, maybe in a few years. It's God's city, really. Well, it's still city. I'm just up the road in Leeds at the moment, but Sheffield is very much a home city to me. Many times have I done the old tour guide bit, showing people Stanhope Road and stuff. Here's Common People then, probably the most well-known Pulp song. It's Rock Syndrome again, in that Pulp purists probably like this least of all. They probably prefer obscure 1990 B-sides. But in terms of the general public, this and possibly Disco 2000, which is my favourite. But I'm not really saying it's that much better than this. They're both classic tunes. Great lyrics. We all know what the lyrics are sort of talking about. People who pretend to be common people when they're not. The great verse about if you called your dad, he could stop it all. Very good line, that. He's very, very good at distilling down stuff into very simple, easy to understand lyrics with his quirky kind of vocal delivery. It could curdle, and indeed it did after a few years, with some rather ropey stuff. But this was the apotheosis, Pulp at their very best, all-time classic song. Brilliant. And we're only 3 songs in. Fourth song is also a classic. Wow, this must be one of the best initial runs of any Now. Wet, notwithstanding. It's another Rock Syndrome song. It's the go-to default song for this band, and the purists probably prefer the more obscure album tracks and stuff. Yep, it's Supergrass and Alright. Musically, this is great. This is really Britpop coming into its stride. going deliberately retro, very ironic. I'm trying to work out where that beach is. It looks like Wales, Snowdonia, somewhere near there. Harlech, maybe. And yeah, it's just fun, but it's kind of ironic and cheeky. Great musicianship. It's got that kind of hammery piano pub sound. Great drumming. Their drummer was absolutely amazing. And the vocals were all going through that kind of distorted filter. I don't know how well the song did outside Britain. I don't know if it made it in America, but it's absolute Britpop at its height. Okay, all right, things go a bit downhill now for one song, but not too bad. I guess it's a classic. Well, the original was Shaggy doing his version of In the Summertime. He's taken out the stuff about getting pissed up and then driving at 100 miles an hour. And he shaggied it up a bit. Yeah, it's one of those songs that really... The song itself now, I think, really has become associated with drinking and driving. And, that's actually... It's maybe a bit harsh on Mungo Jerry, but they're the ones who sang about it. And it was used in a campaign. Shaggy's obviously tried to reinvent the song, minus those connotations. I don't know if he's still got a bit about taking a girl out. If her daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If her daddy's poor, then do what you feel. So yeah, there we go. It's passable, but I think the kind of ragga oldies thing's really tired now in this time of Britpop. Maybe a few nows ago it would have been acceptable, but by this point, 95, it's a bit dated. Okay, that said, and I always like to, if not contradict myself, find exceptions that prove the rule. Here's a reggae one that really wasn't dated. And it was a bit different, I think. It wasn't just your bog standard oldie. For a start, if the music was anything, it was 70s rather than 60s. So that's progress. Ini Kamoze, I'd had a few of his old songs on reggae compilations. Last person I thought would have a hit. It was from a movie, wasn't it? I was going to say Pret a Manger. Pret a Porter, I think. That one about fashion. Yeah, it's a classic song, actually. It is a bit different from the norm. His vocal style's different. It's a different kind of... well, it's singing, really, isn't it? It's not rapping or toasting. It's just reggae singing. And he has put a new melody on it, even if he's ripped a bit off Wilson Pickett, Land of 1000 Dances, which is where that na 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 comes from. 36 million views, so definitely a classic. Yeah, kind of funky. The exception that proves the rule, really. Okay, next up is a weird one. Free His Family by Dana Dawson. Now, if I'm going to get Musa about this song, I say I really like the verse. I don't like the pre-chorus, but I do like the chorus. And I like the middle eight. So most of it I like. It's the cheesy MIDI trumpet thing again. It kills the pre-chorus. I like the lyrics. I like Dana. She seems like a really good singer. I like a lot of the instrumentation. It's got a good organ solo. I just don't like those MIDI trumpets, and they kill that section of the song for me. Other than that, good song. Okay, a bit of a dance classic now. I don't know if it's a classic in the wider public. Maybe. Jam and Spoon, featuring Plavka, Right in the Night. Now, I like Jam and Spoon best for their Age of Love remix, which is literally one of the best pieces of music of all time. But here they are in a more poppy commercial mode-ish. It's still pretty underground, Right in the Night. It's fast Euro, it's quality Euro. It's definitely got brilliant production values and a pretty catchy song. So yeah, a good one, that. Okay, we pass over E17, we pass over Boyzone, nothing to say. And we go next to Seal with Kiss from a Rose, which was in Batman Forever. And this is one of Seal's biggest hits. And Batman Forever, I think that was the one with Val Kilmer, wasn't it? Not one of the best. Talking of Val Kilmer as Batman, just a little aside, but if you've ever seen Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis, see if you can find the one with Val Kilmer. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's absolutely hilarious, and credit to Val Kilmer. He really takes the piss out of himself, and he takes out the piss of this Batman film. And I think he was in Willow with Warwick Davis. But anyway, Batman Forever, Seal, Kiss from a Rose, classic song, really. Okay, another now revisited. The wonderful Kirsty MacColl and Days, which was on Now 14, I think. I don't quite know why it was re-released. This wasn't when she died or anything. But, you know, bit weird having it back again, but I'm not really going to complain. That's followed by One Man in My Heart by Human League. A return to form, actually. Uncharacteristically, Phil didn't do lead vocals on this. It was Susan. And it's a return to the more synthy side. It could have been one of their big 80s songs, really. Could have easily come from an early 80s now. Okay, quality stuff now. Sour Times by Portishead. Should we stick this one on? This is I'm going to play the next one. So, Sour Times by Portishead. Yeah, brilliant. Off a brilliant album, Dummy. A well-worthy follow-up to Glory Box. More brilliant trip-hop. Just very slow, very kind of film noir, and great vocals on it, great instrumentation, kind of just dark but uplifting, that thing, which I think really typifies the trip-hop sound, really. But it's very dark, but yet it's got a kind of gospel-y thing. Now, what have we got here? We have another classic. Possibly my personal favourite by these guys. One I can relate to. Another bit of anecdotes. A few years after this came out. In fact, 2016, so only about 4 years ago. But it feels like about 40. I was living in Burnage, or just outside it, Heaton Moor. But I used to get the train at Burnage Station. And I used to be that guy standing on the station in need of motivation in the rain. And I could totally relate to this song. I used to sing it just like to myself, really. I saw where they grew up. I didn't stalk it or anything, but, you know, it's a heritage thing. I lived about 5 minutes away. Contrary to what people might think, it's not a really bad area of Manchester. It's kind of suburban. It's not the best area, but it's not the worst. Burnage, just on the border of Stockport. As for the music, yeah, I think this is Oasis at their absolute best. It sounds like lots of other things, but it really is an original melody. 16 million views. I thought it would have way more than that. Yeah, just great song. In an album full of classics. Another one. Should we try and stick just a bit on? I hate to cut them short. Their first appearance on a Now album, and although Britpop was storming up the charts, there was also a big resurgence in American college rock stuff. And this had a classic video, which will no doubt take ages to get to the music. In the world of Happy Days, yeah, Weezer, 49 million views. Consistently good bands. And I guess the Americans' version of Britpop, really. Yank pop. Just kind of a bit ironic. Simple, but with a kind of... just a kind of edge to it, like Supergrass. This is very much like the American version of Supergrass, going back to kind of old pop culture and putting a loud rocky edge on it. Followed up by Delamitri. They'd been around for a few years, pretty boring Scottish band. Roll to Me is actually quite chirpy for a Delamitri song. They are one of the most miserable bands ever, but that was fairly good. Now, another weird one. The first of a couple of strange collabs. EMF and Reeves and Mortimer. EMF had been dormant for a while, long gone. Reeves and Mortimer were really, really dominant. I don't know if Shooting Stars was on at this point, or if it was The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer. I think in 95 was still The Smell of Reeves and Mortimer. One of the best TV comedy shows of the 90s. Just absolutely timeless comedy. And I don't know if this is a charity song or just another wacky Reeves and Mortimer thing. It's not quite Dizzy. It's the old Monkeys song. And it's always good. It's a good song. Good to have EMF back. I don't know, it's just kind of a bit less than the sum of its parts, really. EMF and Reeves and Mortimer doing an old Monkeys song could just be absolutely stellar. Instead, it's just quite good. But you expect more than that. Oh yeah, it's the bit in the video. There we go. And yeah, it's just a bit less than the sum of its parts, really. Okay, another weird collab now, and I talked about, well, there's lots I've talked about with this one, really. If we go back to Now 3, it kicks off with Duran Duran and The Reflex, and I said I wondered if that song was about coke. I've done a bit of research. Some people say it is. Some people say it's about gambling. Some people say it's not really about anything in particular. But also on Now 3 was White Lines by Grandmaster and Mel Mel, which is definitely about coke. So it's quite interesting to see those alumni of Now 3, Duran Duran and Grandmaster Flash and Mel Mel, all teaming up. I don't quite know how they teamed up, because it sounds like a bit of a cut-up, like they've actually just sort of sampled it and kind of put some quite heavy rock stuff on it. Bit of a dog's dinner, very conceptual, but yeah, it's not really something you'd want to listen to any more than the original, really. Now, I'm going to get one lined up just before we play it. I'm just going to give you one more song, and it is Jimmy Somerville doing a pretty incongruous but successful version of Hurt So Good, which was a 70s song, a reggae song, a lover's brilliant song, actually, Susan Cadogan. Jimmy Somerville doing reggae actually works pretty well, actually, to be fair. Yeah, quite good. Okay, now, I was horrible about Don't Stop Wiggle Wiggle by the Out Here Brothers. This one actually managed to whack me over the head enough to kind of like go along with it. I can't say why I prefer it to Don't Stop. I think it's just a bit funkier. I often say, if you can't work out why you like a song more than others, go back to the beat. I think I just prefer the beat of this. It's just a bit funkier. It's a bit more like a kind of mad stuntman. It's got that pulling thing that I need in a beat. It's syncopated. The hats pull you. I mean, obviously, the vocals are still totally inane and obnoxious. Well, but after a few beers, I'll be on this level, yeah. 18 million views. So I really didn't like Don't Stop Wiggle Wiggle, but I like this one. And I really can only say it's because I prefer the beat. That's the only thing. I've got a little something for you, vaguely above average boy band stuff. Not a bad little song, had a good chorus, but doesn't hold a candle to the next one. I'll probably find out. This has had 1 billion views. I'm interested to see. It's Montel Jordan, and this is how we do it. Wow, we are. Yeah, I thought this would have a lot. I didn't realise quite how many. 114 million views. A tenth of the way. Who's still listening? Who's still banging this in 2020? 1,800 people. My mom. Yes, sir. Me. Yeah, we all love this still. It's just a classic, good party R&B song. It's like R. Kelly without the sort of stigma, really. Yeah, just a party song, really. Good song, good vocals, good lyrics, good groove, good kind of crowd atmosphere in it. Instant floor filler then, and I'm sure it would still be pretty popular today. Followed up with D-Ream on the third single of Fourth Syndrome, Shoot Me With Your Love. Nah. Okay, another classic. This is almost as good as Now 29 for the classics. I'm going to play it because it's one of my favourite songs. The original is one of my favourites, and this is a really good remaking of it. It is Baby D and I Need Your Loving. Bit of history on this one then. The original, and possibly still the best, the Corgis, who are one of my best bands, underrated early 80s band. They did Everybody's Gotta Learn Sometime. Then it was loads of hardcore and jungle versions on the white labels and stuff doing the rounds. And then Baby D had a big hit with Let Me Be Your Fantasy. Obviously saw this was going around on the underground. And did a kind of semi-underground, semi-commercial version. It's commercial but credible commercial. They've kept the song intact, which you've got to do. If you screw up the song, you've just screwed up everything. And they've kept it intact. They have, I think they've transposed it. I know, because I tried to do a version with a singer, and we found that this version was more in key. It's also got some kind of jungly bits in the middle. Break beats are coming any minute now, and they're brilliant. They're really, really rolling, really high quality, not commercial at all. Yeah. This is... Oh, I love that beat. This is just brilliant. Brilliant breakbeat. Textbook. I'm turning it up. I'm supposed to be talking over them, not like playing them really loud. One of the best rave songs of all time. Just absolutely classic. And it's amazing how this song really transplants to the rave format. Okay, another really good one. Maybe not that well known outside house circles. Keep Warm by Ginny. That was a kind of happy house song. Yeah, great song, really. If there wasn't as many good ones, I'd probably play it. But we've got another classic. So many classics. Clubland was doing really, really well. Thinking about it, 95 was such a great year for clubbing. On a personal tip, it was the year I got my decks. First, 1210s. This summer, so I had so much music to choose from. I bought all these songs on 12-inch. Didn't really need them now, but it was quite nice to have radio edits. Yeah, classic club song. I think they're Italian, but it's not Euro. The old Euro sound is gone now. It's dead, and it's organ house. We've had things like Alice and Limerick way back. We've had things like the Nightcrawlers. Live Enjoy just take all that and they just pump it up. Brilliant vocals. Okay, Whigfield back with one that's not Saturday Night. If you didn't like Saturday Night, you're sure as hell not going to like any of their others. Clot, Whoomp, there it is, doing the clot thing to that old Whoomp. There it is. Bobby Brown next, humping around. Bit crass, maybe, lyrically. But a good song. More kind of house Bobby Brown. Pretty pumping, good beats. PK and Duncan, Anton Derek. Is this their first appearance on a Now? A not very well-known song, not Let's Get Ready to Rumble. Stuck on You, I don't remember that. Props to them for their TV stuff. Obviously, they've just been on ever since. A couple of personal problems along the way, but still English institutions. I'm not going to hate on them, but PK and Duncan, I don't need to talk about. Interesting Eurovision one now. I don't really do Eurovision, but credit to Love City Groove for trying something a bit different. I don't think it did very well, probably just because we're England and everyone hates us, but there we go. It was a good song. A weird one now. I'm assuming it's rugby orientated because I don't remember it. It's Ladysmith Black Mambaza, who are South African, I think, featuring China Black, and it's Swing Low Sweet Chariot. So I'm assuming it was to do with the Rugby World Cup. I do like the song. It's a classic sports anthem. It's a classic song. Love Enough by Soul to Soul. They're still going. I've got to rattle through a lot here, actually, because I've got a lot to get through. Love Enough, nothing to say about that. It's not back to life. Get Your Hands Off My Man. That was quite a camp one, with a name like that, you could imagine. Junior Vasquez. Handbag House Now. I've been talking about Handbag. That's Handbag. Get Your Hands Off My Man. Another one in the same vein, but really good vocals. Shiva and Freedom. Yeah, that was a good song. Not very well known and certainly not very well played, but well worth a listen. All the club songs on here are really good, actually. There's hardly any duff ones, apart from maybe that 2 Unlimited one. Was there a 2 Unlimited one? I think we're way past 2 Unlimited's time now. I'd be surprised. I'm just so used to saying 2 Unlimited, I'm saying it in my sleep now. Okay. Yeah, another one I'm going to play now. I played Electribe 101. Here's Billy Ray Martin. I think The Grid did the music for this. I could be wrong. Not that well known, but a good club song. Your Loving Arms. It's had 2 million. Another one I had on 12-inch. Followed up by Deuce and I Need You. Respect to that. Stockake and Waterman at this point, I think they've kind of realised who they are and who likes them. They're not trying to be hip anymore. They've realised that basically they've got a primarily gay audience, that people who like, I should be so lucky. They want stuff like that. They're on the verge of doing steps. They've not quite perfected that formula yet. So Deuce are kind of like the missing link. I Need You. I remember I talked about my friends who like Eurovision. They loved that one. And I've kind of got good memories of it in those parties. But it's not really stood the test of time. It knows its audience, let's put it that way. Okay, another one that's a really, really good dance song now. Son of a Gun, JX. I think that we've done You Belong to Me before. And I don't know why this came after that. Maybe it was re-released, because I'm sure it came first. It's better. Son of a Gun. Really good vocal samples. Great beat, really pumping tune. And one that I'm going to play us out with now, because I think this is really the first time anything that could be called hard house. Yeah, you know, personal stuff. Hard house for a long period of time was my go-to genre. Certainly when it came to DJing, and they're all on Mixcloud if you want to hear all my hard house mixes. I started off with the name DJ Alpha, and I did about 26. There's other DJ Alphas, by the way. I'm the one who's... I'll put a link or something on this if you want to check them out. But yeah, basically hard house is my main style of music for years and years. And the one that kicks it all off, and still one of probably the biggest hard house songs of all time. I've got to get the right mix. It's been mixed so many times. And needless to say, the one on the now is only about 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm just trying to get the right one. All the mixes have one thing in common. I think this is it. They all have one thing in common. They've all got U2, New Year's Day, pianos mixed up with... what was the name? Not Alison Limerick. Sleep Talk, Alison Williams. Never made a now, but a really good song from the late 80s. And these two elements should not go together. The vocal from Matt and U2 should really not go together. This song has just basically been a stalwart of hard house scene, really, since it came out. It is possibly one of the biggest hard house songs of all time. Yeah, absolute piece of musical history. Yeah, if you don't like hard house, no interest to you whatsoever. But if you do, this song is just absolutely. It's just the sound of hard house, really. Loving it. It's quite trancey. I don't know if this is the mix that was on the now or not. I've tried to find a 3-minute one on YouTube, but they're all about 6 minutes, 8 minutes. So if you've got any links, be interested to hear it. Good one to recap, though. Again, an album absolutely chock full of timeless classics. Even a good wet song. Good wet song. So, in terms of real classics then, A Girl Like You, Edwyn Collins, yup. Pulp, Common People, yup. Supergrass, alright, yup. Any Kamosi, Here Comes Hot Stepper, yup. Jam in the Night, Right in the Night, Amongst Clubbers, Seal from a Rose, Kiss from a Rose, Seal, yup. Days, alright, a re-release, but Kirsty MacColl, yup. Sour Times, Portishead, yup. Some might say Oasis, yup. Buddy Holly, Weezer, yup. Few that are good, but not really classics. Boom, 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 Out Here Brothers. Reluctantly, I say yeah. This Is How We Do It. Montel Jordan, yup. Baby D, I Need Your Loving, yup. Living Joy, Dreamer, yup. Keep Warm by Kinney, Semi. I guess Swing Low Street Chariots, classic rugby song. Son of a Gun, KX, yup. And In the World of Hard House, this one, Hyperlogic, Only Me. What a brilliant album, actually. There are a few Duff songs. It's almost like Now 30 Never Happened. And it maybe proves that thing about having 3 albums is maybe pushing it a bit thin. If they'd gone straight from Now 29 to this one, got rid of some of the shit from Now 29 and this, and put the ones from Now 30 on, that would have made 2 of the best Nows of all time. As it stands, though, I'm really not complaining. You have a skip button, and nowadays on the internet, you don't even need to even acknowledge the ones that you don't like. So, you know, and if the people from the Now series are looking at these, and I hope you realise that I'm trying to sell your products for you. It's free advertising. And in a case like this, I really do go and say, buy the record or the CD. It's great. Okay, I'll be back. I'll be back next time with Now 32. You take care, everybody.